Bloomberg Audio Studios.
Podcasts, radio, news.
Single best idea. The single best idea is that David Gurr and I will not work this weekend. That's where we're trying to get to. The politics of America continues. An important meeting with Mr. Netanyahu and Mr. Trump in Florida on this Friday. David Gurr with wonderful perspective on that today. The show was wonderfully eclectic. A major thank you, under real duress. Caroline Conan of our Paris News Bureau got us started on the Paris Olympics and the train, I don't know what I call it, sabotage. I'm trying to not make news here, but I think that's appropriate, where many of the train tracks across France are shut down. She mentioned the track out to Brittany, out of Montparnasse, perhaps is damaged as well as the trip from London to Paris. But thank you to Caroline Conan, literally sitting, I believe, on a train when she gave us that report on the bat phone. A lot of other things going on as well, but the key one was the inflation data today. And so we spoke to Bloomberg surveillance philosopher, Ira Jersey.
I mean, everything's transitory. Life is transitory if you wait long enough, right?
Well, I love that. Philosophy here.
He was worse at Credit Suisse. Continue.
So, obviously there's cyclicality, right? So we always look at trends versus cycles, and that's one of the important things. So, we had this 45-year downtrend in interest rates, 40-year downtrend, which was subsequent to a 40-year downtrend in inflation, and now we've broken to that to the upside. So now we're looking not only for, what's the new trend in both inflation and therefore different markets, fixed income markets, real yields, like you noted, and then what is the cycle around that? And do we have inflationary cycles now that have higher highs for inflation and higher lows? The answer is probably for the next cycle or two, we will have that type of environment.
Ira Jersey, there was some good reporting, and of course we saw in the bond market some stasis off of the set of economic data today, but nevertheless, equities higher and fixed income yields came in. I saw a lot of different voices suggesting September is where we're heading to. But boy, we have to really keep in mind the essay by William Dudley, the former New York Fed president. We saw that on Bloomberg Opinion, a blistering essay, Stop Screwing Around and Move, July 31. That put some tension into the Fed Decides. We'll do that next week. Jon Ferro, Lisa Abramowicz, and myself as well. On the tech juggernaut to come, in the background there's Tesla and Google, but far more, there's this stress over CapEx. Every once in a while, we talk to people. It's this, blather, blather. I'm as guilty of it as anyone. And then someone steps in with specificity where the show just stops. On AI, on CapEx for Global Wall Street, Gene Munster, Deepwater Asset Management.
These companies are spending about $50 billion a year on CapEx. So you figure over a 3-year period, $150 billion. They're generating about $100 billion a year in income. Of that CapEx, by the way, about half of it is related to AI. So said another way, $75 billion over 3 years. Their market caps are $2+ trillion. And as Zuckerberg said this week in his Bloomberg podcast, that there's just too much risk if they don't pursue this because it is the biggest change, as he talked about, in the next 10 to 15 years. I think it's the biggest change in the next 50. But the point is that I think that if one of these companies takes the approach of let's save $10 billion here or $10 billion there over a year period, I think it could be just a historic mistake. And so they get it. Google said it, Sundar said on their call that they have to continue to embrace CapEx. And ultimately, Dave, that's the central question about AI investors should focus in on, at least over the next year or 2 years, is what does that CapEx pace look like?
Gene Munster, bottle that. That's just incredibly important comments there as he breaks out the actual numbers within this CapEx panic over AI. We will go next week to an exceptionally important final week of July. We've got the Fed meeting, and we've got the earnings here that we will observe from Microsoft, from Amazon, from Apple, and others. We're out on YouTube. Let's not forget that. Subscribe to Bloomberg Podcast, please. That's the best way to help me drive this forward. You're subscribing to Bloomberg Podcast, and again on YouTube. A great live chat, informative live chat as we build out that audience. On Apple CarPlay worldwide and in France. If you can't get on the train and see the Olympics, at least listen to us on Apple CarPlay. Stuck in what I'm sure is a lot of traffic outside Paris, on Android Auto as well. On Apple Podcasts, this is Single Best Idea.